I'm standing in the middle of this glittering wedding reception surrounded by 300 people in their pressed suits and sparkling dresses. And my daughter Amy, 30 years old and glowing in her white gown, just slapped me across the plain face. Not a soft tap, but a sharp, stinging crack that echoed over the clinking glasses and forced laughter. Her words hit even harder than her hand. "You're not my real mom," she said loud enough for every guest to hear her voice dripping with venom. "You're just the woman who paid for this circus." The room gasped, then fell silent like someone had yanked the plug on the music. My cheek burned, but what tore through me was the betrayal, the kind that rips your heart open and leaves you bleeding in front of strangers. Amy stood there, her hand still raised, her eyes cold, not a flicker of regret. Gabriel, her slick groom with his tailored suit and fake smile, smirked from behind her like he'd been waiting for this moment. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just touched my cheek, feeling the heat under my fingers, and looked at the daughter I'd raised, the one I'd poured my life into, and realized she'd rewritten our story to make me the villain. Hello, I'm Kathleen, 67 years old. Before I dive into this story, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment with where you're watching from. Your support means everything. This wasn't how I pictured Amy's wedding day. I'd spent months planning, pouring every dollar I had left into this Savannah riverfront restaurant with its chandeliers and floor-to-ceiling windows. I didn't care about the cost, $40,000, every cent from my savings, because I wanted Amy to have the day she dreamed of. I'd sold my mother's antique ring, the one I wore every day for 30 years, to cover the deposit. Amy didn't know. She didn't ask. She just sent me lists of demands: more flowers, a bigger cake, a string quartet. I made it happen like I always did. But standing there with my cheeks stinging and 300 pairs of eyes on me, I realized none of it mattered to her. I was just the bank account, the one who signed the checks and stayed quiet. The slap came after her speech. Amy had grabbed the microphone, her gown shimmering under the lights, and started thanking everyone. Gabriel, her friends, even the caterers. I waited for my name, for some acknowledgement that I'd given everything to make this day happen. Instead, she turned to me, her smile sharp as a knife, and said, "And Kathleen, who loves to play the martyr, made sure we had the budget." The crowd chuckled, thinking it was a joke. I forced a smile, my hands shaking in my lap, but then she stepped closer, her voice lowering to a hiss. "You always make it about you, don't you?" Before I could respond, her hand flew up and connected with my face. The room froze. My friend Angela, 65 and fierce as ever, grabbed my arm, her eyes blazing. "Kathleen, don't you dare let this slide," she whispered. I didn't move. I couldn't. Not yet. Gabriel stepped forward, playing the peacemaker, but his eyes gleamed with something darker. "Let's all calm down," he said loud enough for the guests to hear. "Amy's just emotional. It's a big day." Emotional. She'd planned this. I saw it in the way she stood, the way Gabriel's hand rested on her shoulder like they'd rehearsed it. They wanted me humiliated out of the picture. I'd heard them whispering weeks ago during a fitting for Amy's dress. I was in the next room adjusting my pearls when Gabriel's voice came through the wall. "Once we're married, we can handle her money," he said. "She's old. She won't fight." Amy laughed, a sound I didn't recognize. I'd brushed it off, then told myself I'd misheard. But now, with my cheek burning and their smug faces staring me down, I knew it was true. I didn't run. I didn't hide. I straightened my back, adjusted the pearls around my neck, the ones I hadn't sold, and walked to the edge of the room where Angela was waiting. The guests started whispering, their forks clinking again, pretending nothing had happened. Amy turned back to the crowd, laughing like it was all a misunderstanding. "Let's get back to the party," she called, raising her glass. Gabriel joined her, his arm around her waist, and the music started up again. But Angela wasn't letting it go. She pulled me into a corner, her voice low and urgent. "Kathleen, I've got something you need to see," she said. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded envelope, her hands steady. "This changes everything." I took the envelope, my fingers trembling. Inside was a notarized document, yellowed at the edges with Amy's name at the top. It was an adoption record dated 29 years ago, listing me as her adoptive mother and a woman named Dorothy as her birth mother. My stomach twisted. I'd never told Amy she was adopted. I'd raised her as my own, loved her through every sleepless night, and slammed door and kept that secret to protect her. But someone had found out. Angela's eyes locked on mine. "I've had this for years," she said. "I kept it in case you ever needed it. And after what Amy just did, you need it now?" I didn't know how Angela got the document, but I remembered the day I signed it. I was 38, alone and desperate for a family. Dorothy, a woman I barely knew, had shown up at my door pregnant and scared, begging me to take her baby. She disappeared after Amy was born, and I never heard from her again. I'd buried that truth so deep I thought it was gone. But here it was in black and white, staring me in the face. I looked across the room at Amy laughing with Gabriel and felt a surge of anger. She didn't know. She couldn't know. But someone had told her something enough to make her hate me, enough to make her raise her hand. I slipped the envelope into my purse, my mind racing. Angela grabbed my hand. "You don't have to decide now," she said. "But you can't let them walk over you." I nodded, but inside I was already deciding. I'd spent 30 years protecting Amy, giving up everything. My savings, my dreams, my name. When she was 16, she'd gotten into trouble. A car accident that wasn't her fault but could have ruined her. I took the blame, paid $10,000 in fines, and lost my job at the library because of it. I never told her. I didn't want her to feel guilty. But now, with her handprint on my face and Gabriel's smirk burning into me, I was done protecting her. The rest of the reception was a blur. I stayed not because I wanted to, but because I needed to see what they'd do next. Amy avoided me, dancing with Gabriel and her friends, acting like nothing had happened. Gabriel kept glancing my way, his smile too tight, like he was calculating something. I caught him whispering to a man in a suit, someone I didn't recognize, and my gut told me it wasn't about the wedding. Angela stayed by my side, her presence the only thing keeping me from falling apart. "They're planning something," she said, her voice low. "I heard Gabriel on the phone last week talking about a trust fund." "Your trust fund?" I felt sick. My trust fund wasn't much, $50,000, what was left of my parents' estate, but it was all I had. I'd planned to use it for a quiet retirement, maybe a trip to see the ocean again. But Gabriel's words from the fitting echoed in my head. "We can handle her money." I looked at Amy twirling in her gown and wondered how long they'd been planning this. Had she always hated me, or had Gabriel twisted her against me? I didn't know, but I wasn't going to wait to find out. By the time the cake was cut, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to let them erase me. I'd given Amy everything, and she'd thrown it back in my face. I didn't know how Dorothy fit into this, but if Amy knew about her, if that's what fueled her anger, I needed to find out. Angela promised to dig deeper to see if Dorothy was still out there. "I've got a friend at the courthouse," she said. "If anyone can find her, it's him." I nodded, my jaw tight. I didn't want to face Dorothy, not after all these years, but if she was part of this, I had no choice. As the night wound down, I slipped out to the balcony, needing air. The river glittered below, but I didn't care about the view. I was thinking about the envelope in my purse, the truth it held, and what I'd do with it. Amy had humiliated me, but this wasn't over. I'd spent too long staying quiet, letting her and Gabriel take pieces of me. Not anymore. I touched the pearls around my neck, the ones I'd kept through every sacrifice, and felt something shift inside me. Anger, yes, but also resolve. I was going to fight back and they weren't ready for it. Angela found me on the balcony, her face grim. I just saw Gabriel talking to that guy again, she said. They mentioned a lawyer. Kathleen, they're moving fast. I nodded, my hands steady for the first time all night. Let them, I said. I've got something they don't. Angela raised an eyebrow. What's that? I smiled. Not the fake smile I'd worn for years, but something real, something sharp. The truth, I said, and I'm not afraid to use it. The reception ended with Amy and Gabriel driving off in a decorated car, the guests cheering like it was a fairy tale. I watched from the balcony, the envelope heavy in my purse. I didn't know what came next, but I knew one thing. Amy had started this, but I was going to finish it. And when I did, they'd all know exactly who I was. I'm still on the balcony, the river air cool against my cheek, where Amy's hand landed when Angela grabs my arm and pulls me back inside. The reception's still going, music blaring, people dancing. Like my daughter didn't just slap me and call me a stranger in front of 300 guests. My pearls feel heavy around my neck, like they're anchoring me to a truth I've avoided too long. Angela's face is all business, her eyes sharp. She's holding that envelope, the one with the adoption record, and she's not letting me look away. Kathleen, it's time, she says, her voice low but firm. You don't have to take this anymore. I nod, not trusting myself to speak because the anger boiling inside me is new, raw, and I'm afraid if I open my mouth it'll all come pouring out. But Angela's right. Amy crossed a line, and Gabriel's smirking face, his whispers about my trust fund, tell me they're not done. I'm not going to let them bury me. We weave through the crowd, past guests sipping champagne and laughing, oblivious to the bomb about to drop. Amy's at the center of the dance floor, twirling with Gabriel, her gown catching the light. She looks like a princess, but I know better now. Gabriel's hand is on her waist, his smile too polished, like he's selling something. I catch his eye, and for a split second he falters, like he knows I'm not the same woman who paid for this wedding. Angela stops at the edge of the dance floor, her hand on my back. You sure? She asks. I don't answer. I just take the envelope from her, my fingers steady, and step forward. The music's still playing, some upbeat pop song, but I don't care. I walk straight to the DJ booth, grab the microphone from the stand, and tap it. The sound cuts through the room, sharp and loud. The music stops and every eye turns to me. Amy freezes mid-twirl, her smile slipping. Gabriel's face hardens, his hand tightening on her arm. I don't look at them long. I look at the guests, the people who've known me for years, the ones who clapped when Amy humiliated me. I have something to say. I say, my voice clear, not shaking, not weak. Amy called me a stranger tonight. She said I'm not her real mom. Well, she's right. And it's time everyone knew why. The room goes dead silent. I open the envelope, pull out the adoption record, and hold it up. This is from 29 years ago, I say. It says Amy was adopted. I took her in when she was a baby, raised her as my own, gave her everything I had. Her birth mother's name was Dorothy, a woman I barely knew. I never told Amy because I didn't want her to feel less than mine. But tonight she made it clear she doesn't see me as her mother. So here's the truth for all of you to hear. I pause, letting the words sink in. The guests are frozen, some clutching their glasses, others whispering. Amy's face goes pale, her mouth open like she's been slapped this time. Gabriel steps forward, his voice loud, too loud. This is ridiculous, he says. She's lying to ruin our day. But no one's listening to him. Angela steps up beside me, her voice cutting through his. It's notarized, she says, holding up a copy of the document. I've had it for years in case Kathleen ever needed it. And after what you did, Amy, she needs it now. The crowd murmurs heads, turning to Amy, who's still standing there, her hands clenched into fists. She doesn't move, doesn't speak, just stares at me like I've betrayed her. Betrayed her. After she raised her hand to me, after she spat on everything I gave her. I feel the anger surge again, but I keep my voice steady. I sold my mother's ring to pay for this wedding, I say. $40,000, every cent I had. I lost my job when you were 16, Amy, because I took the blame for that car accident you caused. I paid $10,000 in fines so you could keep your record clean. And you thank me by slapping me in front of everyone. The guests gasp, some louder than others. A woman in a blue dress, someone from Amy's work, drops her fork. Amy's eyes dart to Gabriel like she's waiting for him to fix this. He tries stepping closer to the crowd, his hands up like he's calming a storm. Let's all take a breath, he says, his smile forced. Kathleen's upset. She's twisting things. But his voice cracks and I see it, the panic in his eyes. He knows this isn't going away. Angela doesn't let him off. Twisting things, she says, her voice sharp. I was there when Kathleen lost her job. I saw her sell her ring. And I know what you've been planning, Gabriel. She turns to the crowd. I heard him last week on the phone talking about getting Kathleen's trust fund. $50,000. That's what he's after. The room erupts in whispers, people leaning toward each other, eyes wide. Gabriel's face goes red, his jaw tight. That's a lie, he snaps, but no one's buying it. Amy finally moves, pushing past him, her voice shaking. You had no right, she says to me, her eyes wet but furious. You kept this from me my whole life. You lied to me. I look at her, the daughter I raised, and feel nothing but exhaustion. I kept it to protect you, I say. But you don't want protection. You want a free ride. She flinches, but I don't stop. You knew something, didn't you? That's why you said I'm not your real mom. Who told you, Amy? Was it Gabriel? She doesn't answer, just turns away, her hands covering her face. Gabriel grabs her arm, pulling her back. We don't have to listen to this, he says loud enough for everyone to hear. She's trying to ruin us. But the guests aren't on his side anymore. I see it in their faces, the way they're looking at him, at Amy, like they're seeing them for the first time. Angela hands me another paper from her purse. This one, a letter handwritten and creased. Read it, she says, her voice low. I glance at it and my stomach drops. It's from Dorothy, dated 2 years ago, addressed to Amy. Dear Amy, it starts, I'm your mother. I gave you up because I had to. If you ever want to find me, I'm here. I look up at Amy, my voice steady. You knew, I say. You've known for 2 years and you never said a word. The crowd's buzzing now, people shifting in their seats, some standing to get a better look. Amy's crying, but it's not the kind of crying that comes from hurt. It's anger, embarrassment, like she's been caught. Gabriel's still trying to control the room, his voice rising. This is a private matter, he says. Everyone, please, let's move on. But no one moves. Angela steps forward, her voice like steel. Private, she says. You made it public when you let Amy slap her. You don't get to hide now. I don't know how Angela's so calm, but I'm grateful for it. She's my anchor, the one thing keeping me from losing it. I hand the letter to a guest nearby, a man I recognize from church, Reverend John. Read it out loud, I say. He hesitates, then takes it, his voice steady as he reads Dorothy's words to the room. Every sentence lands like a punch. Amy's sobbing now, her hands over her ears, but Gabriel's the one I'm watching. He's whispering to a man in a suit, the same one from earlier, and I know he's planning something. I don't have time to figure it out because Amy suddenly turns on me, her voice a scream. You ruined my life, she says. You kept me from her. You're not my mother. You never were. I don't flinch. I raised you, I say. I gave up everything for you. If that's not a mother, I don't know what is. The guests are on their feet now, some shouting, others trying to calm things down. Reverend John steps between us, his hands up. "Enough," he says. "This isn't the place." "But it is the place." Amy made it the place when she raised her hand. Gabriel pulls Amy away, his face, a mask of fake concern. "We're leaving," he says, but I see him glance at the man in the suit, a quick nod, like they've got a plan. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not good. Angela grabs my arm, her voice urgent. "They're not done," she says. "Gabriel's been talking to a lawyer. I heard him mention a power of attorney, something about declaring you unfit." Unfit. The word hits me like a brick, but I don't flinch. I've spent 30 years proving I'm more than fit, giving Amy a home, a future, everything she needed. And now they want to take my freedom, my money, my name. I feel the anger again, hot and fierce, but I don't let it show. I look at Angela, my voice calm. "They can try," I say. "But I'm not going anywhere." She nods, her eyes fierce. "We need to find Dorothy," she says. "If Amy's been in touch with her, she might be part of this." I don't want to face Dorothy, not after all these years, but I know Angela's right. If Dorothy's out there, if she's been talking to Amy, I need to know why. The reception's falling apart now. Guests grabbing their coats, some still whispering about the letter. Amy and Gabriel are gone, disappeared into a back room, or maybe out the door. I don't care. I'm done chasing them. I turn to Angela, the envelope still in my hand. "How did you get this letter?" I ask. She hesitates, then sighs. 2 years ago, I saw Amy at the post office picking up a package. She looked nervous, like she didn't want anyone to see. I asked a friend who works there, and she showed me the return address. It was Dorothy's. I tracked her down just in case. I stare at her, amazed. Angela's always been one step ahead, the friend who sees what I miss. "Thank you," I say, and I mean it. I slip the envelope back into my purse, my mind racing. Amy knew about Dorothy for 2 years. She'd been carrying that secret, letting it fester, and instead of talking to me, she turned it into hate. Gabriel must have known too, used it to twist her against me. I don't know how Dorothy fits in, but I'm going to find out. Angela's already on her phone texting her friend at the courthouse. "I'll have an address by morning," she says. "Inot meyaftait." I'm not the woman who stood quietly while Amy slapped me. I'm not the woman who let Gabriel plot against me. I'm done being silent. As we leave the restaurant, the guests still milling around, I feel their eyes on me, but it's different now. They're not pitying me. They're seeing me maybe for the first time. I touch the pearls around my neck, the ones I kept through every sacrifice, and feel something solid inside me. Amy and Gabriel think they've won, but they don't know what's coming. I've got the truth, and I've got Angela, and that's more than they'll ever have. I'm walking out of the restaurant with Angela, the night air hitting my face, but it doesn't cool the anger burning inside me. The guests are still spilling out behind us, their whispers loud enough to carry about Amy's slap, the adoption record, Dorothy's letter. My pearls are still around my neck, a reminder of everything I've held on to, but I'm not holding back anymore. Amy and Gabriel think they can erase me, take my trust fund, maybe even my freedom, but they don't know. I'm already 3 steps ahead. Angela's on her phone texting her friend at the courthouse about Dorothy, her fingers moving fast. "We'll find her," she says, not looking up. If Amy's been talking to her, we need to know what she's said. I nod, my mind racing. Dorothy's letter, the one Amy got 2 years ago, is proof she knew she was adopted, proof she hid it, and let Gabriel twist it into a weapon. I need to know why. We get to my car, a beat-up sedan I've driven for 15 years, and I slide into the driver's seat. Angela's in the passenger seat, still texting. "My friend says Dorothy's last known address was in Atlanta," she says. She's checking records now. Atlanta's not far, a few hours' drive, but the idea of facing Dorothy, the woman who gave Amy up, makes my stomach twist. I haven't seen her since she handed me a squalling baby and disappeared. But if she's part of this, if she's been feeding Amy lies, I need to confront her. I start the car, the engine sputtering, and pull onto the road. What if Amy's with her, I ask. Angela looks at me, her eyes steady. Then we deal with it, she says. But you're not alone in this, Kathleen. I'm barely out of the parking lot when my phone buzzes. It's a voicemail from Amy, her voice sharp like she's been crying but doesn't want me to know. You had no right to do that, she says. You humiliated me in front of everyone. Gabriel's right, you're just jealous trying to control me. Don't call me. We're done. The message cuts off and I grip the steering wheel, my knuckles tight but not shaking. Jealous control her. I gave up everything for her. My job, my savings, my name. When she was 16, I sold my grandmother's silver tea set worth $8,000 to pay off the fines from that car accident she caused. I took the blame, told the police it was my fault, and lost my library job because of it. The town talked, whispered I was reckless, but I kept quiet to protect her. And now she's calling me jealous? Angela hears the voicemail on speaker and snorts. She's deflecting, she says. Gabriel's got her wrapped around his finger. I nod, but it stings. Amy's not the girl I raised anymore. Not the one who used to draw me pictures and beg for pancakes. Gabriel's turned her into someone who sees me as an obstacle, a bank account to drain. I don't know when it started, but I know he's pushing her now, especially after we dropped that bomb at the reception. I pull into my driveway, my small house looking shabbier than ever, and cut the engine. Angela's still on her phone, her friend texting back. Dorothy's been in Atlanta for at least 5 years, she says. She works at a diner? I've got an address. I take a breath, steadying myself. We go tomorrow, I say. Angela nods, no hesitation. I'll drive, she says. Inside my house, I don't bother turning on the lights. I sit at the kitchen table, the envelope with the adoption record in front of me. Angela's in the living room making calls, her voice low. I open the envelope, pull out Dorothy's letter again, and read it. Dear Amy, I'm your mother. I gave you up because I had to. If you ever want to find me, I'm here. The words are simple, but they cut deep. Amy knew for 2 years and never asked me about it. Instead, she let Gabriel use it, let him convince her I was the enemy. I set the letter down my fingers, brushing the pearls around my neck. I think about the trust fund, $50,000, all I have left. Gabriel's after it. Angela heard him say it, and now I know he's not stopping. I need to protect myself, but first I need to know what Dorothy's role is. Angela comes into the kitchen, her face grim. My friend found something else, she says. Dorothy's been in contact with a lawyer in Savannah. Same guy Gabriel was talking to at the wedding. My stomach drops. The man in the suit, the one Gabriel kept whispering to. What kind of lawyer, I ask. Angela sits across from me, her voice low. Estate law. Power of attorney trusts. That kind of thing. Kathleen, they're moving fast. I feel the anger flare again, hot and sharp. Gabriel's not just after my money, he's trying to take control, maybe even get me declared unfit, like Angela said. I've seen it happen, old women pushed aside their families, calling them confused to get their hands on the cash. But I'm not confused. I'm furious. I stand pacing the kitchen, my mind racing. We need more than the adoption record, I say. If they're meeting a lawyer, we need proof of what they're planning. Angela nods, pulling out her phone again. I'll call my friend at the courthouse, she says. She can check if Gabriel's filed anything. I don't sit down. I can't. I'm thinking about Amy, about how she looked at me after the slap like I was nothing. I gave her everything, and she's letting Gabriel tear it all down. I stop pacing, my eyes on the envelope. What if Dorothy's working with them, I ask. Angela looks up, her brow furrowed. Then we'll find out, she says. But we need to talk to her first. I'm about to respond when there's a knock at the door, loud and sharp. Angela freezes, her phone still in her hand. I walk to the door, my stomach tight, and open it. It's Amy standing there in her wedding gown, mascara streaked down her face. Gabriel's behind her, his suit wrinkled, his eyes cold. We need to talk, Amy says, her voice shaking but hard. I don't move, don't invite them in. You said we're done, I say. She flinches, but Gabriel steps forward, his voice smooth. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be, he says. We can fix this, Kathleen. Fix this. After everything, I feel the anger surge, but I keep my face blank. Come in, I say, stepping aside. They walk into the kitchen, Amy avoiding my eyes, Gabriel scanning the room like he's sizing it up. Angela's still at the table, her phone down, her eyes locked on Gabriel. What do you want? She asks, her voice like a blade. Gabriel ignores her, turning to me. You caused a scene, he says. You upset Amy, embarrassed her in front of everyone. We're willing to move past it, but you need to stop this nonsense about the adoption. Nonsense. I look at Amy, who's staring at the floor, her hands twisting the fabric of her gown. You knew about Dorothy, I say. You've known for 2 years. Why didn't you tell me? She doesn't answer, just bites her lip, tears welling up. Gabriel jumps in, his voice sharp. She didn't tell you because she didn't want to hurt you, he says. But you forced her hand, airing private business like that. I laugh, a sound I don't recognize. Forced her hand, I say. She slapped me, Gabriel. She called me a stranger in front of 300 people. You're the one pushing her, telling her to go after my money. His face tightens, but he doesn't deny it. Amy finally looks up, her voice small. I didn't mean to hurt you, she says. But you lied to me. You kept my real mom from me. Real mom. The words sting, but I don't let it show. I raised you, I say. I sold my home to keep you in school. $20,000, Amy, gone so you could graduate. I never asked for anything back. But you let him. I point at Gabriel, turn you against me. Angela stands, her voice cutting through. Tell her the truth, Amy, she says. Tell her what Gabriel's been planning. Amy's eyes dart to Gabriel, panic flashing across her face. He grabs her arm, his voice low. Don't, he says. But Amy pulls away, her voice breaking. He said we could get your money, she says. He said it was ours, that you didn't need it. I didn't know he meant all this power of attorney declaring me unfit. I look at Gabriel, his face a mask, but I see the truth in his eyes. He's been planning this for months, maybe longer. Before I can respond, there's another knock at the door. Angela moves to answer it, and I'm braced for anything more. Guests? The lawyer? Anyone? But it's Dorothy. She's standing there, older than I. Remember her hair gray, her face lined but unmistakable. She's wearing a cheap coat, her hands clutching a purse. Kathleen, she says, her voice soft but steady. I got your address from Amy. I need to talk. Amy gasps, her hands covering her mouth. Gabriel's face goes pale, like he didn't expect this. I don't move, don't speak. Just stare at the woman who gave me Amy and walked away. Angela steps back, her eyes wide but calm. Come in, she says, and Dorothy does, her steps slow, like she's carrying something heavy. We're all in the kitchen now, the air thick with tension. Dorothy looks at Amy, her eyes softening. I didn't want to come like this, she says. But after your letter, I had to. Amy's crying again, her voice a whisper. You wrote to me, she says. You said you wanted me. Dorothy nods, but her eyes shift to me. I gave you up because I couldn't keep you, she says. Kathleen gave you a life I never could. But I never told you to hurt her. I feel the anger flare, but I hold it back. Why are you here now? I ask. Dorothy hesitates, then pulls a paper from her purse, another letter. Amy reached out a year ago, she says. She said she wanted to know me. I didn't know she was planning this. Gabriel interrupts, his voice loud. This is a setup, he says. You're all ganging up on us. But no one's listening to him. Amy's staring at Dorothy, her face a mix of hope and confusion. I don't care about their reunion. I care about the truth. Did you know about Gabriel's plan? I ask Dorothy. She shakes her head, her voice firm. I didn't know anything until Amy called me last week crying about the wedding. She said you were trying to control her. I told her to talk to you, but she wouldn't listen. I look at Amy, who's sobbing now, her gown crumpled. Gabriel's still standing there, his eyes darting to the door like he's ready to bolt. Angela's phone buzzes and she glances at it, her face hardening. My friend at the courthouse, she says. Gabriel met with that lawyer yesterday. They filed a petition for power of attorney claiming you're unfit, Kathleen. Unfit. The word lands like a slap, but I don't flinch. I look at Gabriel, my voice calm. You thought you could take everything I say, but you forgot one thing. I'm not alone. Angela steps forward, her phone out. I've got the filing, she says, and I've got a friend who can stop it. Gabriel's face twists, but he doesn't speak. Amy's still crying, but she's looking at me now like she's seeing me for the first time. Dorothy steps closer, her voice low. I'm not here to take her from you, she says to me. I just want her to know the truth. I nod, but I'm done with truths that don't change anything. I turn to Amy, my voice steady. You have a choice, I say. You can keep following him, or you can face what you've done. She doesn't answer, just looks away, her hands shaking. Gabriel grabs her arm again, his voice sharp. We're leaving, he says, but Amy pulls back her eyes on Dorothy. I don't know what she's thinking, but I know one thing, this isn't over. Angela's already planning the next step, her voice low. We need to meet that lawyer, she says. And we need to find out what else Gabriel's hiding. I nod my eyes on the envelope, the letter, the truth. Dorothy's here, Amy's breaking, and Gabriel's slipping. I've spent 30 years protecting Amy, but now I'm protecting myself. And I'm not stopping until they all know what I'm capable of. I'm standing in my kitchen, Dorothy's words still hanging in the air when Angela slams her phone down on the table, her eyes blazing. Amy's crying, Gabriel's glaring, and Dorothy's just watching like she's waiting for someone to make the next move. I'm done waiting. Gabriel's plan to take my trust fund, $50,000 laid bare for everyone to see thanks to Angela's friend at the courthouse. Amy's caught in the middle, torn between her husband and the mother she just found, but I'm not here to save her anymore. I've got the adoption record, Dorothy's letter, and now proof of Gabriel's scheme, and I'm going to use it all. Angela looks at me, her voice low. We need to end this, she says. Now. I nod my fingers, brushing the pearls around my neck, the ones I kept through every sacrifice. Let's go, I say, and I mean it. Amy's still sobbing, her wedding gown crumpled, but Gabriel's already moving, pulling her toward the door. We're not doing this here, he says, his voice sharp like he's still in control. I step in front of him, my voice calm but hard. You're not leaving until everyone knows what you've done, I say. He laughs, a cold fake sound, but Amy stops, her eyes flicking to Dorothy. What's she talking about? She asks, her voice small. Gabriel's face tightens, but before he can answer, Angela holds up her phone. This, she says, showing a screenshot of the court filing. Your husband's trying to take Kathleen's money, her freedom, everything. He filed for power of attorney, claiming she's unfit. Amy's eyes widen, and for the first time she looks at Gabriel like she doesn't trust him. Dorothy steps forward, her voice steady. Is this true? She asks, looking at Gabriel. He doesn't answer, just glares at me like I'm the one who started this. I don't flinch. You thought you could push me out, I say. You thought I'd stay quiet like I always have. Not this time. I turn to Amy, who's frozen her hands twisting the fabric of her gown. I sold my home for you, I say. $20,000 gone, so you could finish school. I lost my job when I took the blame for your accident, paid $10,000 in fines to keep you clean. I gave you everything and you let him turn you against me. Gabriel snaps his voice loud. You're lying, he says, stepping toward me. You're twisting everything to make us look bad, but Angela's ready, pulling a folder from her purse, the one she's been carrying all night. She opens it, revealing the adoption record, Dorothy's letter, and a printed copy of the court filing. This doesn't lie, she says, holding it up. You met with a lawyer yesterday, Gabriel. You filed to control Kathleen's trust fund. $50,000, that's what you want? The room's silent, except for Amy's sobs. Dorothy's watching, her face unreadable, but I see something in her eyes, anger maybe, or regret. I take the folder from Angela, my hands steady. We're going back to the restaurant, I say. The guests are still there and they deserve to know the truth. Gabriel laughs again, but it's weaker now. You're crazy, he says. No one's going to believe you. I look at him, my voice like steel. They already do, I say. Amy's still crying, but she doesn't move. Doesn't follow Gabriel when he grabs his coat and heads for the door. Dorothy steps in front of him, her voice low. You're not going anywhere, she says. Not until this is over. I don't know why she's helping me, but I'm grateful for it. We pile into my car, Angela driving me in the front, Amy, Gabriel, and Dorothy in the back. The ride's tense, no one speaking, just the hum of the engine and Amy's quiet sobs. I'm not thinking about how I feel. I'm thinking about what comes next. The restaurant's still lit up when we pull in, guests milling around, some still drinking, others gossiping about what happened earlier. I walk in first, Angela, right behind me, the folder in my hands. The crowd quiets when they see me, their eyes wide like they know something big's coming. Gabriel tries to hang back, but Dorothy pushes him forward, her face set. Amy's a mess, her mascara streaked, but she follows, her head down. I don't grab the microphone this time. I don't need it. I walk to the center of the room where the dance floor's empty and start talking, my voice loud enough to carry. You all saw what happened earlier, I say. Amy slapped me, called me a stranger, said I'm not her real mom. I told you she's adopted, that I raised her as my own. But there's more you need to know. I open the folder, holding up the court filing. Gabriel, her husband, filed this yesterday. He's trying to take my trust fund $50,000 by saying I'm unfit. He's been planning it for months, pushing Amy to turn against me. The guests gasp, some leaning forward, others whispering. I don't stop. I gave up everything for Amy. I sold my mother's ring for this wedding, $40,000. I lost my job for her, paid fines, sold my home. And this is how they repay me. Angela steps up, her voice sharp. Here's the proof, she says, passing copies of the filing to the guests. And here's Dorothy's letter, the one Amy got 2 years ago, proving she knew she was adopted and hid it. The crowd's buzzing now, people passing the papers around, their faces shocked. Reverend John, the man from church, stands up, his voice, calm but firm. Is this true, Gabriel? He asks. Gabriel's cornered, his face red, but he tries to play it off. It's a misunderstanding, he says. I was protecting Amy's future. Protecting her future. The lie's so weak it almost makes me laugh. Amy's shaking, her eyes darting between me and Dorothy. I didn't know, she says, her voice breaking. I didn't know he was doing this. I look at her, the daughter I raised, and feel nothing but clarity. You knew enough, I say. You knew about Dorothy. You knew he was after my money, and you let him lead you. She sobs, but I'm not here to comfort her. Dorothy steps forward, her voice steady. I didn't come here to hurt anyone, she says. I gave Amy up because I couldn't give her a life. Kathleen did that. But when Amy reached out, I thought she wanted to know me. I didn't know she was using it against you." The guests are silent, their eyes on Dorothy, then me, then Amy. Gabriel's losing it now, his voice rising. "This is a setup," he says. "They're all lying to make me look bad, but no one's buying it." The guests are passing around the court, filing their whispers, turning to murmurs of disgust. Angela pulls out her phone, showing a text from her friend at the courthouse. "The lawyer's here," she says, pointing to the man in the suit, the one Gabriel was whispering to at the wedding. He's standing in the corner, his face pale like he knows he's caught. "Tell them," Angela says, her voice like a whip. The lawyer hesitates, then speaks, his voice low. "Gabriel asked me to file for power of attorney," he says. "He said Kathleen was unstable." Unstable. The word lands like a punch, but I don't flinch. The crowd's on their feet now, some shouting, others staring at Gabriel like he's a stranger. Reverend John steps forward, his voice booming. "You've shamed this family," he says. "Kathleen gave you everything, and you repay her with this." Gabriel's face twists, but he doesn't answer. Amy's sobbing, her hands covering her face, but she doesn't defend him. Dorothy's still standing there, her eyes on Amy like she's trying to understand her. "I don't care about their drama. I'm here for the truth." I hold up the adoption, record my voice steady. "I raised Amy," I say. "I gave her a home, a future. I kept her secret to protect her. But I'm done protecting people who hurt me." The guests are with me now, their faces angry, some nodding, others clapping. I see Sarah, Amy's cousin, in the crowd, her eyes wet but fierce. "You're better than them, Kathleen," she says loud enough for everyone to hear. I nod grateful, but I'm not done. I turn to Gabriel, who's backed into a corner, the lawyer abandoning him. "You thought you could take everything I say, but you forgot who I am." He doesn't respond, just glares, his hands clenched. Amy's still crying, but she's looking at me now like she's seeing me for the first time. "I'm sorry," she whispers, but I shake my head. "Sorry doesn't fix this," I say. Angela's phone buzzes again, and she leans in, her voice low. "My friend says the court filing can be stopped," she says. "We just need to file a counterclaim, show you're in your right mind." I nod, my mind racing. I've got the truth, the proof, and now the support of everyone in this room. Gabriel's plan is crumbling, and he knows it. Dorothy steps closer to Amy, her voice soft. "You don't have to follow him," she says. "You can choose better." Amy doesn't answer, just looks away, her hands shaking. I don't know what she'll do, but I'm not waiting to find out. I turn to the crowd, my voice loud. "I'm not asking for pity," I say. "I'm asking for you to see the truth. I gave everything for Amy, and this is what I got. But I'm not broken. I'm not done." The guests clap, some shouting my name, others glaring at Gabriel. Reverend John steps up, his hand on my shoulder. "You've done enough," he says. "Let us handle him." I nod, but I'm not stepping back. I look at Angela, who's already pulling out her phone, ready to call her friend about the counterclaim. Dorothy's still watching Amy, her face a mix of hope and pain. Gabriel's alone now, the lawyer gone, the guests against him. I walk to the edge of the room, the folder still in my hands, the pearls around my neck heavy but grounding. I've said what I needed to say, shown what I needed to show. Gabriel's exposed, Amy's breaking, and Dorothy's here whether I like it or not. I don't know what comes next for them, but I know what comes next for me. I'm not the woman who stood quietly while Amy slapped me. I'm not the woman who let Gabriel plot against me. I'm the woman who fought back, and I'm not stopping now. I'm walking out of the restaurant, the guests' applause still ringing in my ears, but I'm not stopping to soak it in. Gabriel's exposed his plan to steal my trust fund, $50,000 laid bare for everyone to see. Amy's a mess, crying and lost, and Dorothy's standing there trying to hold her together. Angela's already on her phone setting up a meeting with a lawyer to kill Gabriel's power of attorney filing before it goes any further. My pearls are still around my neck, heavy with every sacrifice I've made, but I'm not carrying that weight anymore. I've said my piece, shown the truth, and now it's time to take back my life. I'm not the woman who let Amy slap me, who let Gabriel plot against me. I'm done being quiet, and I'm ready to finish this. Angela catches up to me outside, her face all business. My friend got us an appointment with a lawyer in an hour, she says, her fingers flying over her phone. We're filing a counterclaim showing you're in your right mind. Gabriel's filing won't stand a chance. I nod, my mind already moving to the next step. I'm not just protecting my money. I'm making sure no one ever tries to take me down again. I want to do more, I say. I want that trust fund to mean something, not just sit there. Angela raises an eyebrow, but she doesn't ask questions. She knows me well enough to trust I've got a plan. We head to the lawyer's office, a small building, a few blocks from the river, and Angela's friend is waiting for us. She's a sharp woman, maybe 50, with a no-nonsense voice and a stack of papers ready to go. Gabriel's filing is flimsy, she says, spreading the documents out. He's got no evidence you're unfit, just a lawyer who's in over his head. We'll file a counterclaim, show your financial records, your history. It'll be over before it starts. I sit across from her, the folder from the wedding in my hands, adoption record, Dorothy's letter, the court filing. I want to redirect the trust fund, I say. $50,000, all of it, to a scholarship fund for kids who need it. Kids like Amy used to be. The lawyer looks surprised, but she nods, jotting notes. I can set it up, she says. You'll need to sign some papers, but it's doable. Angela's smiling now, her eyes fierce. That's perfect, she says. Let them see what you're really about. I don't smile back. I'm not doing this for applause. I'm doing it because I've spent 30 years giving everything to Amy, and I'm not letting her or Gabriel touch what's left. The lawyer hands me a pen and I sign the papers, my hand steady. $50,000 gone to kids who'll use it to build something, not tear it down. I feel lighter, like the pearls around my neck aren't pulling me under anymore. What about Gabriel, I ask. The lawyer's voice is calm but firm. We're filing a complaint against him for fraud, she says. His lawyer's already backing off. He's done. I'm leaving the office when my phone buzzes. It's a text from Reverend John, short and to the point. Amy's at the church. She wants to talk. I show it to Angela, who rolls her eyes. She's had her chance, she says. But I shake my head. I need to see this through, I say. Angela doesn't argue, just gets in the car and drives. The church is quiet when we pull up, just a few cars in the lot, and I see Amy's silhouette through the stained glass windows. Dorothy's with her and Gabriel's nowhere in sight. I don't know what to expect, but I'm not here to forgive and forget. I'm here to end it. Inside, Amy's sitting in a pew, her wedding gown gone, replaced by jeans and a sweater. She looks small, like the girl I used to know, but I'm not falling for it. Dorothy's beside her, her face tired but calm. Reverend John's in the back, giving us space. Amy looks up when I walk in, her eyes red from crying. I didn't know he'd go that far, she says, her voice shaking. I thought he was just protecting me. Protecting her. I feel the anger flare, but I keep it in check. You let him, I say. You knew about Dorothy, knew he was after my money, and you let him turn you against me. She flinches, tears spilling over, but I don't stop. I gave you everything, Amy. I sold my home, $20,000 to keep you in school. I lost my job for you, paid $10,000 in fines. And you slapped me in front of everyone. Dorothy speaks up, her voice soft. She didn't understand, she says. I tried to tell her to talk to you, but she was angry. I should have done more. I look at Dorothy, the woman who gave me Amy, and I don't feel anger, just exhaustion. Why did you give her up? I ask. She hesitates, then sighs. I was 19 alone, no money, no family, she says. I thought you'd give her a better life. And you did? I nod, but it doesn't change anything. Amy's still crying, her hands twisting in her lap. I'm sorry, she says. I didn't mean for this to happen. Sorry. The words empty after everything. You made your choice, I say. You chose him. Reverend John steps forward, his voice gentle. She's trying, Kathleen, he says. Give her a chance. I shake my head. I gave her 30 years, I say. I'm done. Amy sobs, but I don't comfort her. I turn to Dorothy, my voice steady. You can have your relationship with her, I say. But I'm not part of it anymore. Dorothy nods, her eyes wet but understanding. I don't wait for Amy to respond. I walk out, Angela right behind me, the church door closing with a soft thud. I'm not cutting Amy out to hurt her. I'm doing it to save myself. Angela's quiet in the car, but I can tell she's proud. You did the right thing, she says. I nod, my eyes on the road. There's one more thing I need to do, I say. She doesn't ask what just drives to my house, where I pull out a suitcase I haven't touched in years. I'm not staying in Savannah, not after this. I've got enough saved, a few $1,000s to start somewhere new. I'm thinking about the coast, maybe a small town where no one knows my name. I pack light clothes, my pearls, the folder with the adoption record. I don't need much. Angela helps folding shirts, her hands quick. You sure about this? She asks. I nod. I've never been surer, I say. I'm at the bank when I get the call from the lawyer. The counterclaim's filed, she says. Gabriel's filing is dead. He's facing a fraud investigation now. I feel a weight lift, not because Gabriel's down, but because I'm free. I transfer the trust fund $50,000 to the scholarship fund named for kids who need a chance, not for me. The banker hands me the paperwork and I sign, my hands steady. You're doing a good thing, he says. I don't respond. I'm not doing it for praise. I'm doing it because it's right. I'm leaving the bank when Sarah, Amy's cousin, pulls up in her car. I heard what you did, she says, her voice fierce. The whole town's talking about it. They're on your side. I nod, grateful, but I'm not staying for the applause. Tell them thank you, I say. She hugs me quick and tight, and I feel something I haven't in years, pride. Not for what I gave Amy, but for what I'm giving myself. Angela's waiting in the car, her phone buzzing with texts from friends, all saying the same thing. Gabriel's gone, left town, and Amy's staying with Dorothy. I don't care where they are. I'm done carrying their weight. I'm at the airport now, my suitcase checked, my ticket in hand. It's a one-way to a small town on the Carolina coast, a place I've never been but always wanted to see. Angela's with me, her eyes misty but smiling. You call me when you get there, she says. I nod, hugging her, the only person who never let me down. I will, I say. She hands me a small envelope, her handwriting on the front. Open it later, she says. I slip it into my purse next to the pearls I'm still wearing. The gates open and I'm walking toward it, my steps light like I'm shedding 30 years of sacrifice. I'm on the plane when I open Angela's envelope. Inside is a note, simple and clear. You're the strongest woman I know, it says. Don't ever forget it. I fold it back up, my eyes dry because I'm not crying anymore. I'm not the woman who stood quietly while Amy slapped me. I'm not the woman who let Gabriel plot against me. I'm the woman who fought back, who took her life and made it her own. The plane takes off and I'm not looking back. I'm looking forward to a life I choose, not one I'm given. And that's enough.